Also, I guess the last warning and just like PSA here, I see there's a lot of rappers that really do believe that if they participate in crime because they fund it or they're not at the scene, these cops are going to just let them get away with it. The police are not dumb, all right? They're going to get the guy who sent the hit, not only the people who did the shooting.
Now, a seventh person is arrested in a violent home invasion in Winnetka.
And one of them turned out to be a Chicago rapper. We're checking back in with Saquon, who is live at the Dirksen Federal Courthouse with more on this. Say?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, those 6 men, all between the ages of 22 and 30, have now been indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit robbery and kidnapping. A 7th man, as you mentioned, was also just arrested yesterday, and prosecutors are saying a criminal complaint is expected to be filed for his alleged role in that home invasion as well. According to this indictment, guys, one of the suspects posed as a food delivery driver to get someone who was inside their home to open up the front door. That is when investigators say the other men, who were armed with loaded guns, forced their way in.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest TDF first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, Lil Zay Osama is a prime example of when your mom used to say, if it's not one thing, it's another. And at this point, I'm convinced that trouble looks for him. Every time we turn around, Lil Zay Osama is either going to jail or just coming out. But this time it seems more serious. I don't know what type of lawyers Lil Zay have, but usually they get him out of some miracle cases, considering his prior rap sheet, already being a convicted felon, and sometimes even getting caught with a switch in New York and still being released on bond, which is unheard of, but that's another story. Now, Zay get in so much trouble that it done even rubbed off on his brother Big Folks, who we will also find out recently that he himself ran into trouble with law enforcement after he has recently been arrested on unknown charges by the US Marshals. Keep in mind, it said that he just came home from prison after already doing a stretch, and it's believed that he was picked up for the same crime that Lil Zay Osama is currently being accused of, that we're about to get into. Now before we do, for the rappers out there that think you can have 1 foot in and 1 foot out the streets, let this be the millionth lesson. Thinking you can fund anything a part of the streets or get away with committing crimes just because you are from a distance or indirectly, or you think the police ain't paying attention to you because you are a rapper, think again. Now, I don't know why these guys get the opportunity of a lifetime and decide they want to throw it all away, but it seems like it's becoming way too common. We're seeing rappers who claim to be rich, wearing a bunch of jewelry, buying a bunch of cars and flexing on social media, go down for some of the most pettiest crimes. Or even if they aren't petty. As an individual who claims to be so rich and living the life, he or she shouldn't be even associated with things they're being accused of. As for Lil Zay Osama, according to him, he had just signed a deal and was supposed to be focused on dropping music. He told us that he was leaving the street stuff alone and changing his ways since the last time he was accused of having something to do with that videographer getting robbed. However, I guess the streets brought him right back in because here we are. Now, according to reports, Lil Zay Osama is among 6 other men who are not only facing charges, but federal charges for robbery, kidnapping, and home invasion, where they're saying it took place last month in Winnetka, Illinois. Him, along with others, are being accused of allegedly invading someone's home and demanding access to a safe, a computer, and cryptocurrency accounts belonging to a victim. I guess these guys said being that the world is going digital, they are too. Robbing people for cash money is a thing of a past, so instead, now they're demanding crypto. Crazy. Now here's the thing, y'all. Even if they did get away with it, when you transfer crypto to whatever wallet, it can be traced, and once the investigation is underway, I'm sure the feds will easily find out who's the owner of the account that it was transferred to, and they would get in trouble regardless. So I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. However, we're going to get into how and why the feds are accusing Lil Zay of these allegations. But before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hype the video so we can get into the algorithm. And if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
The victim was held at gunpoint for about an hour, physically restrained, while the suspects demanded access to a safe, a computer, and even cryptocurrency accounts. Shortly after, authorities say the group took off, then met up with other alleged co-conspirators to split up their shares. Now, as you mentioned, we have learned one of the people charged is Isaiah Dukes, who some people may know as Chicago rapper Lil Zay Osama, who now lives in Los Angeles. Fox Chicago has actually interviewed him. This was last November after offering to help out a local mom and her young son after they were brutally attacked by a group of kids in Chicago. So far, all 6 men have pleaded not guilty. They will remain in custody pending trial. The 7th person arrested is also expected to face federal charges pretty soon here. Now, if convicted, the alleged suspects could face decades in prison, including possible life sentences for kidnapping charges.
Now, according to the Chicago Tribune, detailing why the feds are accusing Lil Zay Osama and others of kidnapping, robbery, and home invasion, it is state quote. A Chicago rapper is among 6 facing federal charges on allegations they conspired to ransack a North Shore home for money and held a person at gunpoint to see the plan through last month. A superseding indictment was unsealed Tuesday night after a 4-hour detention hearing in Rockford for defendant Isaac Dukes, who performs under the alias Lil Zay Osama. After the marathon hearing, Dukes was ordered detained as he awaits trial. The defendants have each been indicted on conspiracy to commit robbery and kidnapping. The conspiracy charge holds a maximum sentence of life in federal prison, while the kidnapping charge is punishable by up to 20 years. Alongside 28-year-old Dukes, who now lives in Los Angeles, defendants include Khalil Dukes, 30 of Elgin, Anthony Ramsey, 22 of Chicago, Deshaun Brown, 24 of Chicago, David Franklin, 24 of Chicago, and Jalen Chambers, 24 of Bourbonnais, according to a news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Court filings from separate litigations indicate Khalil Dukes is Dukes' brother and Ramsey is the rapper's half-brother. All 6 have pleaded not guilty. A 7th defendant was arrested Tuesday morning and federal charges are pending, according to U.S. Attorney's Office. Christopher Amon, the head of the Chicago office of the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, said in a written statement Tuesday night that his agency and other law enforcement partners were on this case from the very beginning. Home invasions strike at the core of an individual's most basic right to safety, security, and privacy in their own home, Amon said. The case initially made headlines back in early March when a group of armed and masked offenders forced their way into the Winnetka home after one of them posed as a food delivery driver to gain access to the residence, local police said at the time. The offenders proceeded to hold the resident at gunpoint as they demanded items from the home. The resident escaped, but by the time police had responded to the scene, the home invaders had fled. The newly unveiled 7-page indictment paints a more detailed account of the March 8th invasion. Federal prosecutors allege Brown, Franklin, Chambers, and 2 other unnamed co-conspirators forcibly entered the residence and held the person inside captive for about an hour as they physically restrained them and threatened them with firearms. They demanded the resident give them access to a safe, a computer, and online accounts holding cryptocurrency, the indictment states. Prosecutors further allege in their indictment, while inside the home, Chambers called Dukes and another unnamed co-conspirator who provided instructions on how to obtain the cryptocurrency they sought. Eventually, they fled the residence in a stolen vehicle and later met up with Dukes, Khalil Dukes, Ramsey, and other co-conspirators who checked to ensure all the proceeds from the robbery were collected, prosecutors allege. Brown, Ramsey, and Franklin were arrested on March 22nd according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Dukes, Khalil Dukes, and Chambers were arrested nearly 3 weeks later on April 10th. Dukes was initially released pending trial by a magistrate judge in Chicago earlier this month, but the U.S. Attorney's Office filed a motion to revoke the order last week, docket for the case shows. The case was then transferred to U.S. District Judge Lane Johnston in Rockford. Johnston opted on Tuesday to overrule the magistrate judge's release order. Prosecutors in court called Dukes the puppeteer of the home invasion, which they inflicted terror on the victim and the community. after hours of examining the possibility of releasing Dukes to a third-party custodian, Johnston ultimately ruled that there was convincing evidence Dukes could fail to appear at future proceedings and that he presented a danger to others should the preceding order stand. Johnston pointed to Dukes' criminal behavior and history. Federal and state court records show Dukes carries a long criminal history dating back to when he was a juvenile. In recent years, that includes a 2022 misdemeanor conviction for unlawful possession of a firearm, Cook County Circuit Court records show. Towards the end of 2023, Dukes was arrested after leading police on a high-speed chase from west suburban Oak Brook to Chicago. He later pleaded guilty in DuPage County Circuit Court on one felony charge of aggravated fleeing and eluding a police officer, court records show. And in November 2024, a federal judge sentenced Dukes to 14 months in prison after he pleaded guilty to possessing an illegal machine gun while in New York City 2 years prior, according to a Department of Justice news release.
Say, I know this is a lot of information, but do we know how police found these suspects?
Well, the interesting thing is, we heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they say that this very much moved pretty quickly here. They were actually able to secure arrest warrants within 12 days of that home invasion. And, I was out in Winnetka last month to cover this home invasion, guys, and I remember hearing directly from local police there that these men were masked. So even after those arrest warrants were obtained, they kind of kept them sealed while they were working to identify everyone. We do know this was definitely not like a one-man job, right? We know multiple agencies were a part of tracking down this group, like the ATF, the FBI, but also, of course, several police departments in the area, including Winnetka, Chicago, Glencoe, Northbrook, and Orland Park. Guys, I'll toss things back to you.
Now, this was a long read, y'all, but we had to point out basically everything pertaining to this case and the reason why they're accusing Lil Zay Osama, and come to find out his brother was also included. And to make it clear in case you didn't get it, Zay himself wasn't present on the scene, right? He wasn't the person that was initial suspect. However, after investigating, they will find out that allegedly Zay was instructing the suspects on the scene of what to do, which basically shows involvement of some sort within the crime. And this isn't looking too good because it seems like Zay has a track record of not being directly involved in the crime, but playing the background and being what the feds would call the puppeteer. And if y'all remember, this is similar to the whole situation that happened with Benny the Jeweler, where Lil Zay Osama wasn't there, of course, but the people who he's affiliated with had something to do with robbing him, or at least was accused of it. And this happens in the streets all the time, right? In usual cases, let's say you meet somebody, you know they got money, you rock them to sleep by acting like y'all cool, whole time you're plotting behind their back and will hire or gather a group of guys to rob the individual because you know they have money. You may not physically be there, but you're the one that put everything together and orchestrated the whole play. Now, this case is also interesting because based on what we will find out, the victim was able to escape while they were in the house looking for whatever they was looking for. So that means y'all did all that and didn't even get anything because based on the paperwork, it don't say that they took anything. So we would assume that they were unsuccessful. So in a nutshell, it was a botched robbery, and not only didn't they get anything, but now they're facing life behind bars. And even if they got that crypto, now that they got caught, 9 times out of 10 is going right back. And even if they don't get life, messing with the feds, they're definitely going to do some years. As it said, they're taking it to trial and they pled not guilty. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I know we were joking earlier about Lil Zay getting into trouble, but on a serious note, he got to chill. He has an opportunity that most people would die for, and somehow he continues to get himself in trouble and fumble the bag. Leave the streets alone. Sometimes you gotta change the people, places, and things around you because clearly they can get you caught up in street things. And if he really is innocent like he claims, he literally just found himself dealing with another case, all for what? And it's crazy because in this situation, his brother's involved, his half-brother's involved. I'm convinced the other unnamed co-conspirators, who they probably didn't name yet because they haven't caught them, is probably Zay's cousins at this point, right? They done made this a whole family function. And of course the feds were going to tie everything together, but they should know better than to be making calls right after you commit a crime and then going to meet up with the same person you called on the phone. It's like they literally just brought them straight to Zay and his brother all over one mistake. It's similar to the guys that were accused of unaliving Stephon Mack and then had the nerve to text each other about collecting money for it from Lil Durk. Then they mentioned that they were going to Chicago to collect when Durk is there, and what did the feds do? They aligned all the timestamps up with the dates that they were supposed to meet up to Dirk also being in Chicago at the same time that they said, and then afterwards the kid involved was flashing money on social media. You literally can't make this up, man. And on another note, for y'all out there that think y'all beating cases and your criminal history don't matter, as you can see, they was gonna let Zay free on bond until they realized his criminal history was crazy and decided to keep him. Now he has to fight this case from the inside, which is never a good look. Plus your prior criminal history already makes you look like a villain to the jury that gotta decide whether you're guilty or not. And let's be real here, when you have a very, very lengthy criminal history, it's like you're already guilty before they could say it. So let this be a lesson to the YNs out there. When you out here committing crimes, thinking you beating them or getting over, it may not get you now, but it may always come back to haunt you in the long run, as you can see here. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Jump in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. I'm out. Are you tired of a bunch of social media gurus promising you results with their course, but all they do is take a bunch of information off YouTube and Google, then sell it to you? Well, look no further. Our YouTube Tips and Tricks Masterclass course comes equipped with SEO tips and tricks, along with methods we use to growth hack our YouTube channel. It also includes step-by-step ways to publish your video before uploading to guarantee a great SEO score, therefore your videos can rank and be shown to a bigger audience. Views and subscribers don't come by luck, and just how YouTube have an algorithm, you should have one as well that can guarantee you results. We doing websites and softwares we personally use to generate money creating Faces YouTube channels. If you also would like to skip the process and just buy other pre-built accounts, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, we also threw that in there for you too. We went through trial and error, so you don't have to. Click the link in the description or the comments and get started today.